In today's video, you'll meet modern and prehistoric ocean terrors, kinda like this fish that has a bite as bad as it looks, and the deadliest whale of all time. The Kronosaurus. One of the largest and one of the deadliest marine reptiles in the history of life on Earth, the Kronosaurus was the scourge of the early Cretaceous seas. This monster in particular was a pliosaur, a fearsome family of marine reptiles that had massive heads, short necks, and relatively broad flippers. Measuring 33 feet from snout to tail and weighing in the neighborhood of 7 to 10 tons, Kronosaurus was one of the biggest pliosaurs to have ever roamed the Earth's oceans. Their teeth were a few inches long, but not particularly sharp, lacking the flesh-cutting abilities of other reptile teeth. However, it then made up for it with its sheer bite force to quickly incapacitate all types of prey, and lightning-fast speed that enables the animal to chase down prey with ease. When it comes to prey, there's evidence that Kronosaurus preyed on other massive marine reptiles, such as the long-necked plesiosaurs. One particular plesiosaur fossil found in Australia bore the distinct bite marks of a kronosaur on its skull. The Giant Stingray. The Giant Stingray is a behemoth of a fish, growing up to 17 feet across and weighing up to 1,300 pounds. They can be found in the fresh and brackish waters from the Mekong River to northern Australia. However, what you may not know is that stingrays are prehistoric fish. They've been around since a few million years after the dinosaurs died out and have proven to be a successful design, much like the sharks they descended from. Although stingrays do not readily attack humans, they are incredibly dangerous to fool around with, even if you don't know you're fooling with one. Each ray has a sharp barb on the base of its tail that can easily penetrate human skin and bone, much like a hunting arrow. This stinger can be as long as 15 inches and typically introduces toxins to the victim's wounds, which can lead to intense pain, nausea, weakness, and fainting. And if that happens in the water, good luck. Dunkleosteus. Living around 360 million years ago, Dunkleosteus was one of the largest and one of the last of a group of fish called the arthrodires. These fish had thick bony plates covering their skulls and with a full body length of up to 6 meters. Couple all that with the armored headgear of the largest Dunkleosteus fossils that are positively nightmarish. New fossil research shows that as full-grown adults, these top predators had jaws strong enough to take down just about anything in their habitat, even each other. Dunkleosteus did not have true teeth though. They had something a tad bit scarier. Their skulls' bony plates extended into sharpened fangs in front of their mouths. These fangs then scraped together continuously, sharpening each other as the fish opened and closed its jaws. As these monstrous fish grew up, their mouths changed. Their jaws gradually lengthened, while the fangs up front grew sturdier. This meant the jaws of an adult closed more slowly, but with a lot more power. While the younger fish were eating smaller, softer prey, the adults were capable of punching through even other heavily armored prey. The Vampire Squid. The Vampire Squid looks like something that swam out of a late-night science fiction movie. But in spite of its monstrous name, it is a small creature, growing to only about 6 inches in length. The vampire squid's body is covered with light-producing organs called photophores. This gives the squid the unique ability to turn itself on or off at will through a chemical process known as bioluminescence. When the photophores are off, the squid is completely invisible in the dark waters where it lives. The squid has incredible control over these light organs, and it has the ability to modulate the size and intensity of the photophores to create complex patterns that can be used to disorient predators and as well as attract prey. Not much else is actually known about the feeding and mating habits of the vampire squid, mostly because observing them in their natural habitat for a prolonged period of time is virtually impossible. So any footage of them, like the one you're seeing, is very valuable to scientists. The Pacific viperfish. The viperfish is one of the most unusual looking fish in the deep sea. It's also one of the most popular and well-known species. Known as one of the fiercest predators of the deep, this fish can be easily recognized by its large mouth and sharp fang-like teeth. In fact, these fangs are so large that they will not fit inside the mouth. Instead, they curve back very close to the fish's eyes. The viperfish is thought to use these sharp teeth to impale its victims while swimming at them at high speeds. Of course, that's just speculation, as like with most deep-sea creatures, little is actually known about this guy. Because of the extreme depths at which they're found, very little is known about the reproductive habits of the viperfish. It is believed that they are external spawners, meaning that the female releases eggs into the water to be fertilized. Spawning probably occurs throughout the year, although the numbers of young larvae have been discovered to be highest between January and March. These larvae are approximately 6 millimeters long when they hatch, and they're left to fend for themselves until they can reach maturity. Not much is known about the lifespan of the viperfish as well, but most researchers think they live between 15 and 30 years. In captivity, though, they rarely live longer than a few hours. The Japanese spider crab. If spiders creep you out, then this massive deep-sea spider will probably make you panic. And while it's not actually a spider, the Japanese spider crab has long spider-like legs that scuttles across the ocean floor and can get monstrously massive in size. Scientists and researchers estimate that this crab can weigh up to 44 pounds and have a leg span of 13 feet at their largest. Not only does this mean that this crab could actually tower over you if it wanted to, but it also makes it the largest crab in the entire friggin' world. They're not exactly hunters, but these crabs have been known to eat algae, kelp, mollusks, slow-moving invertebrates, and the dead bodies of any creatures that happen to be floating around. Ugh, that's just terrifying. In fact, this last option seems to be their favorite, as they seem to prefer to scavenge dead flesh rather than kill things themselves. Now, their legs may be spindly, but they can seriously hurt you. They don't often hunt their prey, but they can move quickly when needed thanks to these long legs and are able to kill smaller animals with ease. Their claws are also strong and large enough to pry open mussels and clams in order to get at the tasty flesh inside. In fact, when this crab was first discovered, the researcher documenting it noted that it could inflict some serious injuries to humans, and had in fact done so while being caught. The Megalodon. He's only on this list because I know you'll all ask me about it. Like I just said, the Meg is probably the best known creature on the list. Given that it's a shark the size of a school bus and beyond, it's really not that easy to keep it out of pop culture. Plus, science-minded entertainment sources like the Discovery Channel love creatures that could pass for a movie monster. Despite the popular idea that Megalodon coexisted with dinosaurs, they only lived from 25 to 1.5 million years ago, meaning that at best, they missed the last dinosaur by 40 million years. On the other hand, though, this meant that they might have still been around for the very first very tasty humans. More than likely apex predators wherever they went, the Megalodon swam the warm oceans that were around until the last ice age and the early Pleistocene, which may have robbed them of their breeding grounds and food. Despite being universally considered to be extinct, this biggest of all known predatory sharks still strikes fear in our hearts, which probably explains why reported modern sightings of the Megalodon still get a lot of attention. The Megamouth Shark. The Megamouth Shark is not the largest shark, but it's plenty big enough to be considered ultra-frightening. Megamouths are deep-sea sharks that reach up to 18 feet in length, and in reality, they're actually harmless. They're rarely seen by humans, and even if you did run into one, it would be extremely unlikely to hurt you. This is because it's in the same family as whale sharks and basking sharks, which instead of meat, they eat plankton and jellyfish. They have rows upon rows of small, sharp teeth, but they're intended for eating small fish, not people. The reason megamouths are so scary is actually just the way they look, because they swim with their massive jaws spread open at all times, sweeping up fish and krill like a vacuum. Not exactly an appealing image. This is actually one of the most recent shark species discovered, first being spotted in 1976 near the Hawaiian coast. Since then, they've been seen off the coast of Australia, Africa, Mexico, and even California. There seem to be more sightings of them close to Asia, though. Specifically, they've been seen off the coast of Taiwan, Japan, and the Philippines. Leedsichthys. Of all the fish to ever swim in the seas, Leedsichthys problematicus may be the record holder for the world's largest. Working with bits and pieces of incomplete skeletons, scientists have had a hard time figuring out the precise dimensions of the enormous creature, hence the name. In fact, it led to scientists grossly overestimating its size. Despite the miscalculation, it still is in the running for being the largest fish to have ever existed. According to the most recent estimates, though, they grew to around 55 feet in length, significantly larger than the whale shark, the largest fish living today. Like many other sea giants, Leedsichthys survived by feeding on some of the smallest creatures in the sea. Plankton probably made up of a majority of their diet, although it's difficult to pinpoint the feeding habits of an extinct animal. Scientists believe that even though the largest discovered specimen was around 55 feet, that these animals could likely have grown to be even bigger. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's photo is really quite disturbing to look at. Well, it's a dead mermaid, but not the kind we're used to seeing. Its tail looks more serpentine rather than fish-like, and I'm pretty sure none of you would want to encounter this thing on your next fishing trip. Thankfully though, this is just a doctored photo, and mermaids are still considered mythical despite numerous alleged sightings. The next creature on our list though is 100% real though, and is probably going to be a headliner in the new Jurassic World movie. Mosasaurus. The ocean is scary enough today with the number of massive predators swimming in it. Just imagine adding these monstrous reptiles into the mix. Now, mosasaurs are very large extinct marine reptiles with some species reaching lengths of over 50 feet and are considered to be some of the most fearsome predators to ever inhabit our oceans. They first emerged during the Cretaceous period 90 million years ago and quickly became the ocean's dominant predators. They went extinct during the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction event, which killed all of the dinosaurs. Being very voracious eaters, they'd eat anything that would come into range of their massive jaws. Mosasaur fossils unearthed with other animal remains preserved where the stomach would have been have allowed scientists to conclude that these formidable hunters would have dined on fish, sharks, marine reptiles, including other mosasaurs, seabirds, and any dinos that got too close to the water. The hagfish. The hagfish is living proof that one doesn't have to be dangerous in order to be absolutely terrifying. Now, the hagfish has no jaw, so it's not a threat to people, but that's where the good news ends. One only needs to touch a hagfish to know it's not a fish to be messed with. You see, hagfish have a very unique defensive mechanism. Their bodies can produce copious amounts of slime, hence the other name, the slime eel. This fish's goo is so thick that as soon as they slime up inside a predator's mouth, it makes them unappetizing and literally hard to swallow. But wait, there's more! Since they don't have jaws, they eat by wiggling their way into decaying underwater carcasses. It's gross, but evolutionary speaking, it works. 76 species of hagfish exist today, with some growing up to 40 inches in length. And also, did you know that there's a high possibility that you're walking around now with a hagfish in your pocket or in your purse? Hagfish skin, devoid of slime, actually makes perfectly good leather. In fact, if you own an eel skin wallet, chances are it's actually from a hagfish. Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell, and you will get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it, it really works. Levyatan. Today's oceans, killer whales hunt other species of whales, working in pack to take down their much bigger prey. They're kinda jerks like that. Living whales, though, have it easy. Those that swam off the coast of Peru around 12 million years ago were hunted by a far bigger predator. This recently discovered leviathan of an animal has a very appropriate name, Levyatan. At between 13.5 and 18.5 meters in length, it was no bigger than the modern sperm whale, but it was clearly far more formidable. While modern sperm whales have no upper teeth and only use their lower teeth to settle disputes with other whales, Levyatan had a full set of chompers, the largest of which were about a foot long and around 4 inches wide. It then grabbed its prey with a powerful bite, inflicting deep wounds and tearing off flesh as killer whales do, but with a skull 3 times as big. Needless to say, the Levyatan was an apex predator. It's even thought that these massive marine mammals hunted their own kind, mainly baleen whales. See you guys next time.